Anxiety is like a fire alarm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like, okay, where's the fire? You don't want to be like, okay, how do I fix a fire alarm? You don't. You thank it for being there because it tells you that there's fire and you address the fires. But that to me is a feedback mechanism. So anxiety is a feedback mechanism.
Bad times, I don't want to have bad.
You speak in front of people all the time. Are you not trying to do better each time?
You almost have to. Otherwise, one, I get bored.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, okay, what can I do that I haven't done? Or maybe I can do this and do it faster. Ooh, maybe I can try something else. So to me, it's always finding new things to add on to things that are already working.
Yeah.
And that's how you innovate, right?
Innovate and make things more efficient.
I like how you mentioned that, because the way I look at life as well is I feel like it is a game designed for us to discover what we're capable of, to stand in our own power, to realize that we're creators of our own reality. And whatever it is you choose and you believe, it's mirrored to you. And sometimes it's hard to accept that, because if you accept that, then you have to accept a lot of responsibility for your life. And for some people, I was one of them. I'm like, gosh, that's a tough thing to face.
It's painful.
It's painful. You have to be able to build up to it for some, right?
It's scary too.
It is very, very scary, because you're like, that means like I am now, because we're so used to like, can you just make a decision for me? Can I just sign off of this? So to me, I think and I believe that it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to have all the ranges of emotion to make life like exciting. And if you look at it that way and you start learning how it works, then you can start, I feel like, winning in a lot of ways. I think it's like life is a game.
And winning is fun.
Winning in a lot of different areas. It could just be like winning like, gosh, you know what? I am no longer triggered or controlled by this, or I no longer have to put on a mask just to fit in. I can be myself. Like I think authenticity, and you and I talked about this in the past, is it's a huge win when you can just be yourself. When everyone turns left, you're like, I'm gonna turn right because that's how I feel. Not because I have to do. Which is huge.
I did some pre-production with Jill, who's also a fan. Jill, who's the executive producer of the show, who's a growth-minded individual. So we were excited about you coming on the show. I'm trying to think of where to start because, one, I think you have a very interesting past. Your origin story is unique, but the present is where I live. So I like to spend most of the time on the present, but I like a good origin story. Every superhero needs one. And everyone listening, this is a special episode because generally on this show, we have mostly musicians, some actors.
I was in a band when I was in high school.
But you were in a band, so you are a musician.
Long hair, chipped black nails, yes. Eyeliner, and everything.
So you are, and I felt that.
Yeah.
But also, you're an author, and we have authors on here. And your book, "Do This Before Bed," which I think is where I want to start.
Yeah.
Is why I want you on the show and why I like you so much, and I'll tell you why. And as long as I followed you before we became friends, I find in the personal growth space and in the self-help space, first of all, I want to preface this by saying I think it's all great. Anyone that's looking for answers to become the best version of themselves. Where I struggle with politics, with religion, and with coaching, and with, you could say, in personal growth and therapy and all the different avenues of this huge space now, I struggle with people who want other people to follow them and that they become this like, I'm the answer, right? They become the Jesus, right? Which is my problem, is I believe there's God and then there's the rest of us down here figuring out this thing, and we're supposed to share information when we get it to help our neighbor if we found a faster route or a safer passage or a way to get something faster, that sharing is caring and that we all are better as a group if we share. And people who I struggle with, I won't say I'm against them because I'm not really against a lot of things unless it's just pure evil. But there is a power dynamic that people can get drunk on. So I struggle being in 20 years in Hollywood and seeing all the extremes of everything. Being a simple guy from Maryland coming out here and making my life out here, I've seen kind of lots of things. And I've seen the gurus and the people that are like, they really enjoy that power. When I met you, and I've continued to discover about you, is you exist in a different light, a different plane, a different place where it feels to me like you're trying to help people learn.
Yeah, and it's a very, very good distinction. I mean, my wife and I joke around like we know we're successful. When
you're very good at it.
When people don't need us anymore.
Right.
And we say it to them to their face. It's like, if you are here in a year, in a few years, and you haven't owned your power, you're not making your own decisions, you still need us and you still need help, then we failed. Because if I look at, I'm a very, like you, I'm a very systems-based thinking kind of guy, right? And if I look at the pattern of humanity, we are here, the problems that we experience where we are right now is because we've given our power away.
Right.
Our ability to create, to think, to make decisions for ourselves, right? To own our power. And when I'm looking at, gurus or crystals or all these different things that are outside of us, to me, they're training wheels. They're
Right.
tools that are meant so that we can remember who we are. And then the big leap that we take is stepping into who we are and taking the training wheels goes off. And it's scary for some, right? Because it's again, you're like, what am I going to do? How's this going to, it's just a big jump. So that's where my work is to show people like, you can do it, right? You have it within you. Everything that you see within me or someone that you idolize, you already have it within you. It's just, you got to discover it, step into it, get used to it, realize that, your environment might change because of it. You might need to level up a bit, but when you're used to it, like a new identity, then it's normal.
Yeah.
It's a new norm, but it's a path. It's a growth path.
It's a path and it's a practice.
It's a practice.
And do this before bed, to me, is like such a great example of a simple process that people can understand and get to some kind of process for themselves. And then everyone, and whether it's this book or there's some other ones out there, there's a bunch of processes you could find that could work for you that I would say is like a starting point. And then as it becomes easy, where it becomes second nature, you start to evolve. And some things you might keep, some things you might add in, something. And that to me is like the truth, the actual truth of like a real life that you live in. It's finding your process. And so teachers like you that are helping people find their way to get in line with the best version of themselves, the highest vibration they could be on, are using tools that work. And you've seen it work because you have a lot of followers that are finding their own way. And each different path is going to be slightly different. The one size that fits all is that we can all be better.
Yeah.
And in my mind, and I didn't come up with this, my therapist, who is like a teacher as well, who is the same, is just trying to teach people, it said, better is always better. So if you can, as silly as that sounds, if you can do things to be better and then go from there, you're going to find your way, and everyone's slightly different. But what struck me with you to start is your attitude towards what you do and how you treat the people that you're teaching. So to me, that I respect it. I respect it because why I'm not deep in politics, deep in religion, deep in a lot of this stuff is I can't sign up and follow someone, but I can learn from someone. And maybe it's the musician in me, or maybe it's the outcast kid in me. But I think that I'm always looking for teachers that are generous with their ideas, generous with what they've learned, with their experience. And I think that's what you do really well, is you're teaching people the how.
And thank you for that. It means a lot that you see that. And the way I look at it is the information that I tap into, and a lot of people that have tapped into, I don't think it's originally mine.
Right.
I think we get it from a greater source, to greater power, whatever it is, God, universe, higher power, comes through. And then when it comes through, it's not ours to keep. It's not ours to hold. It comes through for a reason. It's supposed to be shared. And when you share it, you don't lose it. Because a lot of times people think when I share something, I lose it. I'm like, no. When you share it, more flows through you, because I believe the more you help, the more will flow through you.
Yeah.
Right. So one is I don't think it's mine, and as I think it's supposed to be shared. I think the reason why we are where we are at times is because we don't have enough of the right wisdom or information. It's been kind of like dumbed down through time, but it's like there's potency in that. And this actually was one of the hardest books for me to write, believe it or not.
Why?
It's because it's technique based. And I'm a big believer of techniques will get you results. and it can get you the quick fix, and you can be like, it works. And then it builds it enough to where you want to explore it because you see what's possible. But to me, real change is like what you talk about, is like you change, you grow, you make the decisions, you shift, you embody it. And when you embody it, you create your own techniques. It becomes natural. You don't even think about it. It's who you are. It's the deeper work. But the deeper work isn't always the ones that appeals to more people. So this book was for, let me get to as many people as I can and give them value,
Right.
knowing that maybe I can get some of them deeper. And when they go deeper, if they go deeper, that's where the true value lies. But,
Right.
So to me, it's a hard one because I know it's like, if you give somebody a technique, they might be dependent on it, but you have to have an entry point for some, right?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I was just thinking about the word value, right? When you think about spending $20 on a book and getting a piece of information that you carry and you start practicing and you start using, because for me, manifesting and all of the kind of versions you could say what manifesting is for me, it's an alignment. It's getting aligned. It's like going, if you could go to the chiropractor and they crack your back and they get it in line, you could go, it's a real thing. That's the other thing that I think that I said it before, we're learning how to drive these avatars, right? One thing we don't do is give credit to energy.
Yeah.
And yet we all know it exists. And it's weird. It's this weird thing that I'm like, people don't really give credit to their own energy.
Yeah.
What drains you? What fills you up? What do you eat that makes you feel energized? What do you eat that makes you feel, what do you do that makes you feel energized? And then what is that energy? And starting to learn about your own energy is like, to me, one of the things I feel like no one gives credit to their own power and their own energy. Like it's not a real thing. And yet they turn a light on we know energy is real.
Yeah. And the big thing with that, because is when they do figure out the ratios, it's not an empowering one. So for example, if you're with these two people that you're around with all the time and they drain your energy, and you're with this one person you're with all the time and they lift your energy up, they're like, okay, I'm going to spend 98% of my
energized.
time. Yeah, I'm going to spend 98% of my time with people that drain me and 2% with the one that lift me up.
Right.
Because in their mind, they're like, oh, success is hard. You have to struggle. So they match that with their beliefs and rules. But I'm like, what if it can be fun and easy? What if you can actually do what you do and thrive and you feel like good about it?
And it's not hard.
And it's not hard.
That's what I learned in life. I started out, everything was hard. I was told it was hard. Money's hard. Success is hard. Life is hard. Love is hard.
Yeah.
And I went into the world at 18 expecting everything to be hard. But there was always something inside of me that always called like, no, I don't think that's right. Like there was something in me that challenged it.
Yeah.
And so I tried and was lucky enough because of starting nowhere. No one was in my way saying you should go to college or you should do this, or you should do anything instead of going and doing music. So that was the vehicle. Music was the vehicle. And then with the first round or waves of success, when I realized it didn't make me happy the way I thought it would, definitely relieved me, having some money and whatever was, but there was a deeper question. Like, why didn't this feel like I thought it would feel? Why don't I feel better about myself?
I mean, it might be like that for maybe a day or two. You might have the high.
Yeah.
But when it crashes down and your head hits the pillow at night, you're like, oh, that when that novelty wears off is when you hear that. Because I've heard that before. Like, oh, I thought this would be fun. I thought you've reached it, because society teaches you to think when you get this, when you hit this milestone, this is how you will feel, but you don't know it's fleeting.
It's the cure-all.
Yeah, it's a cure-all for a day or two.
Right. Fame, money, this. In your mind, what is it? All the things, right? So what I realized was I'm still sad. Some good people were like, well, that stuff doesn't make you happy. You make you happy.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite get it. And then I went to therapy, started doing some others, looking for personal growth, right?
Yeah.
Following this person, reading that book, and searching, which is what we have to do. So what I learned from those people was, you have to start with you, and you have to love you first before you can love anything, before anything can love you back. You have to love yourself. And I'm not talking about vanity. I'm talking about believing that you are good enough, that you deserve love. And that's where, to me, where it starts. And then when you can come to that foundational belief that you're worthy of love, that you're good as you are, that you were created, it's special. If that's your baseline, then you can start working up to all the good that life has for you.
Yeah.
But if you can't start with that fundamental belief that you're good enough and that you deserve it, you can't receive any of it.
It's hard. I've seen people with the wildest types of success and they don't have the I'm worthy, I'm good enough. And you can see them still being driven by that same pain. It's like they're prisoners of it. And I was for the longest time. It's like, how much more do you need? And because what was driving me before was like, this rebelliousness of like, my dad said I couldn't, so I'm doing it to prove him wrong. And that was my fuel. And I hadn't healed that.
Right.
So, but when you're doing that for a moment, it's good. You get a little bit of hit. And then you realize, you know what? Gosh, there's got to be more to life than this. And then like, you realize someone tells you, you should do this. I'm like you. It's like, I have to try it out. I have to feel it for myself. Like, and I have to come to my own conclusions. I'm a very like hands-on kind of guy. So
learn by doing.
Because someone can tell me that, but unless I experience it, I'm like, and I don't have that experiential energy. So when I realize, oh, wow, when I love myself, when I value myself, when I value my time, when I put myself first, not in a selfish way, because people think if I put myself first, I'm selfish. I'm like, no, it's one of the most selfless things you can do, because if you take care of yourself, then you can show up better for others, right? And not have the dips. When I tried that out and I saw the difference of what it did for the results from people that I love, for what was important to me, I was like, it's actually easy. I can get the result. I can get it faster. I don't have to have burnout. I don't have to have dips. It's easy. It's sustainable. It's good. And that's when that's when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep building on this, because that became the foundation.
So you grew up in the Philippines.
Yes.
And then what age were you when you moved?
18.
So you were 18.
Yeah.
So same age when we kind of went into the world.
Yeah.
But you weren't doing this at 18. You started in like, you were an entrepreneur, you were building businesses.
Yeah. I mean, I was in a band until I was in high school, right? And then my parents were like, you know what? Let's go to the US for a vacation. Like, you see if you like it, see if you don't. And then when I'm here, they're like, psych, we're here.
We're moving.
We're not coming
back.
God. We're not coming back. And I'm like, what about my friends, my band?
Oh my God.
And to me,
where did you move?
We moved to Lakewood near Buena Park.
Oh, wow.
Orange County area.
So in LA.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Close to LA, right? And
LA area.
Yeah. And that to me was one of the darkest times, because I was like, how am I going to thrive and survive in this new world?
Right.
And I have no friends. I had to start from scratch. So that's when I started off with business. I started off with like, how can I learn how to meet people, learn how to socialize, learn how to make friends, learn how to add value. So I started off in that path. And then, and funny enough, I became a dating coach for the first few years. That was my business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. From 18
Is that how you met your wife?
No. I met her, gosh, like maybe a good 13 to 15 years later.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You're older.
When I was older,
good.
I was like, because I did that whole, coaching, dating advice and all. And that was, so I learned, and it helped me. And when it helped me, I was like, gosh, I can help people. And that was become the pattern of my life. It's like, I'm in pain. I'm going through this. Let me learn the skill, the mindset. And when I learned that, I'm like, gosh, I actually want to teach people. And that's how a lot of my businesses started. It's not like, it's like, I want to share what I've learned, and then it ends up becoming something that's a business, because I'm passionate about it. But it's always driven by, it had to make an impact on me first. I had to be a believer first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I can extend the value to others.
It's a real value. I feel the same way about what we do. We like to teach.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like every day of work does not feel like I'm working. And that's how I know I'm doing the right thing, because I'm there because I want to be. And it's so funny how if you can make a living and a life out of doing something you love that you really want to give people, it is probably the most fulfilling thing about life for me, is what I do for a living.
Because you never want to stop, because it feels good for you. It fuels you up. It helps somebody else. And it's like, people will have to tell you to slow down, and you're like, I have a lot to give.
Yeah.
And they look at you like, how are you not taking a day off? Why are you messaging me at 3 a.m.? I'm like, I've got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's like, and that's, I learned that earlier on, like, let me be passionate about something, or it has to be a strength of mine. I have to be really, really, really good at it in a way where no one else is. And I try to stay in my zone.
But when did you realize you had this gift? What I would say is energy work.
Energy work.
You're teaching people things, but there's something about you, and I don't know if you can articulate what you do, but what I feel from you is you have an ability, there's an intuition you have that I've met a few people over the last 20 years, and I've been very lucky and fortunate to go around the world and meet really interesting like spiritual teachers, energy. So there's people when you see the real deal where you're like, oh, that guy's the real deal. It's like what people would call a psychic.
Yeah.
What I call a psychic is someone who's got some clairvoyant intuition and they can see certain patterns we can't. Yeah. The same way a musician can hear certain patterns, an artist can see certain patterns with colors. And even athletes have physical intuition when to throw a ball, catch a ball, move through. It's ability plus some kind of like intuition that their brain has tapped into on a higher level than the rest of us. And I believe that every person has one gift. If they follow their interests, they'll get to it. And they have some intuition that they have. A lot of people, I think, are sleeping on themselves. For sure. And they're just asleep and they don't realize they have intuition because they don't let themselves trust it. But I really believe that everybody is clairvoyant in some way.
Oh, I feel like we're born with it.
Yeah.
And you see it with children, like they can feel things, they see things, they know what's going on. Like people feel better around them. People like that are mad are smiling when they're around. They just have this energy. And through life, through life events, trauma, programming, different things that happen.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets buried in there.
It gets buried,
but it's never lost.
Right.
And if you think about it, have you ever had a time, I had plenty of these, to where you were going through a tough time and you needed a saving grace for some reason. And last minute, it just pulls through, like a miracle happens. Someone shows up and you're like, what are the odds? When you needed the most, like, you vulnerable, you tune into yourself, to your intuition, and it delivers for you because at that one point in time, you're aligning. Even though it's scary and vulnerable, you're aligning with who you are, even if it's vulnerable, and it happens. And the way I look at it is, people are sleeping in the wheel, but you can never fully turn it off. But you're missing out on the best gift that you have, and the best thing you came with on earth are those gifts to support you. Because when they're on, you're aligned, manifestation, like you don't think about it. It happens.
Yeah.
It's just who you are. You're not thinking like, I'm going to manifest. You're like, I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to stay in my art. There's my non-negotiables. I'm going to stay pure to me. And then you get lucky. But is it lucky, or is it by doing that? You're
in line.
You're in line. Therefore, when you're in line, everything that's waiting for you is also in that vibration and frequency.
Yeah.
And that's why you do it so natural. But to me, you made the right moves of like, I'm going to keep connected to who I am. I'm never going to lose that. I'm going to protect it, and I'm going to build on top of it.
Yeah. And the byproduct of that is what everyone else notices.
Yeah.
If someone sees and they go, oh, you're making money, or, oh, you're doing this, or, oh, you've got this success. It's all byproducts of being in line. And what I found is if I tune all that out and I don't worry about any of that, I don't worry about the result. I don't worry about how that record's doing, or how that TV show does, or how this podcast does, or how much money I make. And I just try, and I know, listen, everyone listening that could say, easy for you to say. What I'm saying is, I'm the best example of someone who started at zero with some odds against them, right? Maybe not the same odds as someone else who started off in a tough place, but I'm saying if you want an example of someone who started at zero and now has gotten to a place where the challenges I started with early in life are no longer challenges.
And my theory behind it is this, is at the very beginning, I worked hard, you worked hard. I think we're throwing spaghetti in the wall. We're seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
And through time, you're like, okay, I tried a lot of things out. I'm creative, innovative. And you're like, out of this 15 things that I tried, 3 work. Now, next year, I'm going to not do the things that don't work. I'm going to focus on doing the things that work. Next thing you know, you're like, why is it so easy for you? You're working less. You're just getting lucky. You're like, no, I put the hard work in to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and I focus on what works. And over time, that becomes everyone's superpower if
they listen to it.
If they listen to it.
What is it you see, feel, or think when you're doing your work, and where did that start? At what age did you discover something about yourself?
Yeah.
And maybe it was likely in the dating thing, because there's something very personal and where people have to open up and be vulnerable
Yeah.
when they're trying to date someone. So that makes a lot of sense that if you're not in energy work or spiritual work or any of that, and you're just like a kid, you're probably in your 20s at that point doing the dating thing.
Yeah, 18, 19. I believe looking back, I always had it as a kid, like empathy, connection, wanting to help people, wanting to get them out of pain, wanting to solve their problems. I always had it.
And the dating thing was a very surface, like entry level, almost like your first experience with, oh, they're struggling with that.
Yes.
I think I can help them.
Yeah, because I would get men that were like engineers or accountants. They're
Shy.
like 30 to 40 to 50, and they just didn't have self-confidence. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know they were of any value. And a lot of the dating stuff were all inner game. It was all like
Inner dialogue.
I would say 80 to 90% was inner dialogue. The techniques they work and they're like they're cool. And even then I was teaching people to be direct. If you like somebody, walk up to them, tell them what you like about them. There were no games, but
Takes a lot of confidence.
it does. And it was a lot of it was a lot of it's inner dialogue. So to me, I got to see how people's wiring works, what happens when you butt up against limiting beliefs, programming. I didn't know I was doing energy stuff at that point, but I was more focused on how the mind worked and how it could sabotage you.
But isn't that interesting though, that your own intuition led you down a path that got you here?
Yes.
And what it did was it took you through a front door that seemed a bit more, you didn't know you were doing energy work, but you were.
I didn't know.
And your subconscious knew you were. This is what I believe. I believe that everyone's subconscious is the wisest. It's got thousands of years of information stored, passed along generation to generation, right? I really believe that our subconscious is connected to our spirit. Our subconscious is not our spirit, but it's connected to our spirit. And it's like where our body meets our soul is something like our subconscious. And then our subconscious feeds information to our brain, our body. And like we live in this physical world where we have to eat and we're like animals essentially. But what makes us not animals is something like our soul and our spirit, right? That's my own like belief. I haven't fully worked it out, but when I do, I'll write a book. We can co-write it. So the subconscious, if we listen to it, is something like, did I just notice that? Did I just feel that? Did I just think that? You know what I mean? And when we're super tapped into our subconscious is when the magical things, they feel like magic, where you thought of someone and then they called you. Which always happens with us. It's like, I'll think of you, you'll text me. It's interesting, right? Like there's something like that in subconscious, but I think your subconscious, if you let it, leads you, right? So yours was like, well, I'm not going to drop all this on him all at once. So I think let's go in through this way. I can see those people need help. I'm going to help them. It's dating. It feels less deep than it actually is.
And it made it relevant to me because it's like, oh, you know what it's like to be, socially awkward because you moved to the US.
Right.
So I just felt like, oh, wow, I just went through it. It's relevant. I can help. I can feel their pain. I can help them. Looking back, I'm like, that's brilliant of it. Kind of like dangling carrot me all the way here. Because had I known this is where I was going to be, I'm like, hell no. It wasn't part of my plan, right? So it had to be step by step. And so that was my first introduction. And honestly, I didn't know I was a healer. I didn't know I was into energy. My mom now, like last year, she was like, you know what? It runs in the bloodline. And when you were born, your grandfather looked at you and said, oh, he's a healer. Because apparently we come from a lineage of healers in the Philippines. I'm like, Mom, wouldn't it be awesome if you told this to me 20 years ago?
Yeah.
This would have been awesome versus like it coming out of nowhere. And you're like, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? Why do I have all this energy? How do I know when people are off? And what do I know what's blocked? Like, I mean, you think you're crazy when it first happens because you have no context. No one's ever trained you on it. You think you're making it up till you start seeing patterns and you're like, that's interesting.
I'm seeing this all the time.
And it stacks. And when it stacks over decades, you're like, you don't fight it anymore. You're like, okay, your mind goes, there's a world that exists beyond the mind, this energy. I don't quite know all the answers, but I know enough that it's valid. In a lot of ways, it supersedes everything else in life. Everything is affected by energy. Therefore, I don't know what it is, but I respect it and I can follow it. I don't need to know all the answers. I might know it later down the road.
Right.
But at least I know I'll listen to it.
Right.
And it's still, it's never easy because even if you're like, let's say you're called to surrender to your energy and your intuition, even if I know it's going to serve me It doesn't mean at times I'm like kicking and screaming because it's a hard decision to make.
And it's faith.
And it's faith. And it's easy to exercise when you have nothing left to lose.
Right.
But when you're going from good to great and you have things that are like, you want me to do this, and you build something, it's harder to do that because now there's stuff to lose.
Right.
But you do it anyway because for me, every time I follow it, it's always been better, even if I've never seen it.
Flash forward to now.
Yeah.
Right. You start as a young guy. You discover you like helping people.
Yeah.
That turns into, oh, I have a gift. I kind of thought maybe I did, but there was always that intuition.
And I was unworthy of it. I'm like, me? Really?
Right.
Have a gift? Help people? Like, and I wasn't really the poster child for someone that I felt like was helping. So it was always a conflict of like, I'm going to help, but like, I don't feel good enough, qualified enough, worthy enough, because I haven't worked in that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Enough time goes by, you help enough people,
Yeah.
you start to get comfortable,
Yeah.
and your self-conscious is going to take you there. Look, therapy is it expedites the process of growth.
Yeah.
I do believe if we just keep leaning into how we feel, our subconscious is going to lead us there the long way. Yeah. We can do things like therapy or energy work or whatever healing we can do that we can find will expedite our growth. But we are all growing or we're dying.
Exactly.
That's it. If you're not growing, you're slowly dying. Right. And so that's what I tell people is like, just look for growth. If it's in the gym, if it's.
You got to think about all the things that are around us that are designed to, whether it's deliberately or not, slow us down or keep us back. So you're thinking about all the trauma, all the programming, all the things you're exposed to. It's not like if you stay still, you're neutral.
Right.
No, all of those are affecting you. So you actually at times have to grow just to even have a little bit of an edge.
Right.
And really grow if you want to be ahead, because otherwise you're just succumbing to all that stuff that's designed to keep you in a box, and you're not going to be happy in that box.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, it's like growing is like, yeah, if you stay still, you're definitely dying or going back. If you're growing, you give yourself a chance to kind of beat it. But if you're like, let me like explore this and be 1% better every day and just put one foot in front of the other, it's a great practice and habit to have.
Well, what people sleep on when you say that, and it really made me kind of go back to my own belief system, is this incremental gains, right? So as long as I could grow, let's just talk about money as an example.
Sure.
The rule in finance is something like 7% every 7 years doubles your money, right?
Yeah.
So if you can get 13%, you're getting even more growth than that. But think about it from the perspective of those incremental gains that most people throw away. Because what we want is, I want to change overnight, or I want my whole life to change in a month or whatever. And they sleep on what 1% a day.
It's the compound of 1% a day. I thought it was like, when you compound it, it's like, what was it? Like 3,000% or something crazy
and
annually.
It's actually achievable.
Yeah. Cause it's just one, because actually I love that you mentioned that, because I'm an all or nothing kind of guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go swing for the fences. I'm going to go for
me too.
And when you hit it, you get such a like, whoo,
it's a rush.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is if you don't, you beat yourself up and thinking like, I didn't.
Yeah.
So I go between like, I'm going to swing for the fences. And if tomorrow I don't feel like it, 1% better. At least I'm still growing. It doesn't have to be, you can have it all. You don't have to just say, I won't do that, but you can throw it in so you have everything covered.
And it compounds. But okay, so what you do, how do you sense people's, and we've had a session and it's amazing. And I can't exactly explain it because it's not dramatic ritual.
Yeah.
And so what I'm wondering is if everybody's looking to you, they're all there for what you do. How do you deal with all that energy coming at you? And usually, I mean, I'm sure lots of them are vibrating on high levels and they bring energy.
Not all.
But then I'm sure a big chunk of them are looking for energy, looking for something. They're coming there for something.
Yeah.
And they're in need. Really, it's like need. Like that's what I feel is like.
There's some people that are in there and they're in chronic pain all their life. There's some people there because they just lost a loved one, or they're in the middle of a divorce, or So I would say majority of the time I meet people, they are in need. And luckily for the last 20 years, I worked on myself enough day in, day out, to where I believe that because I've done a good amount of work, that my vibration is high, therefore it doesn't affect me as much. Well, if it was 15 or 20 years ago, it would affect me a lot. I would be within minutes, I'd probably be crippled. So I had to work on it. And there's still some days where it humbles me of like, oh wow, forgot my practice yesterday. Oh, I really feel it today. So I'm really on top of the practice, but I also work on the vibration on a daily basis so that I can actually not be affected by it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it typically would. And some days it humbles me, but if the practice is there, then you're above it.
Yeah.
You're above it. It's almost like, if you think about it, it's almost like if a therapist was talking to someone, they have to be able to empathize, but also be above it.
Right.
And they can't really join the story and the emotion. They have to be slightly above so they can guide. And then when they join fully, or if they're triggered, and they lose their ability to guide you because they're in it. So I try to have that balance of, can I be in it, but can I also be above it?
Right.
So I can guide and I can't be in it all the time. I have to have that balance.
You can't be in it, because if you were in it and you got emotionally charged and caught up in it, you could no longer give good advice.
Exactly. It affects you. It affects your judgment.
Your
it affects
judgment.
everything.
And good judgment is not emotional. Good judgment is just informational and experiential. So I've experienced this. I have this information. I'm going to tell you what I think from my perspective, seeing you go through that without getting pulled into the emotional experience you're having. It's the same thing in a music career.
Yeah.
I could talk to an artist, and I noticed this too. At first, I can feel their frustration that I'm not emotional like they are. But then over time, I think they it's actually comforting, because I'm not emotional unless we're celebrating something and it's happy, or I'm empathizing with them because they're going through something hard. It's not emotional for me because I've already gone through all that. So I actually wouldn't be giving them good advice and wouldn't be a good person for them to come to for advice if I was emotional, because I wouldn't be clear.
Neutrality is the best.
Yeah.
We've realized if you're delivering something, because if you're hyper emotional, for example, they're not even going to receive it.
Yeah.
You know, and what you're going to love this about the event is because like people are always trying to, when you think about energy healing, it's very out there for some. So what I've done in the last few events is I paid for research and I flew in doctors, neuroscientists.
I saw the head thing.
Trauma research. That was one part of it. We had people wearing that in the room, and we had ECGs, EEGs, and it's very preliminary, but one of the things that they said is like, when I walked in the room and there was somebody there, didn't even know I was there. They were measuring their brain waves. They went into to theta and then delta pretty quickly.
That's amazing.
And to me, it's exciting because it just shows energy fields can affect energy fields regardless of who you are. You can walk into the party and you notice because you can walk in the party and lift everybody up with your own energy. And I bet you if you walked in there and they measured people's brainwave, they would see that happening. You're affecting them positively, just like somebody walks into a party and they can drag people's energy down. People can lift it up. And it's not just energy healing, it's just energy in general does that, right? We affect each other whether we know it or not. And it's, we're just kind of geeking out and measuring how it works so people can be like, it's a real thing. You're like, these are measurable things that happens. We're just not conscious of it.
But also you've had the experience, so you get this kind of scientific backup of what you've been seeing for 2 decades.
Yeah.
Is you've seen people come in and leave different. What's the value of that? To be able to go into a room feeling one way and leave feeling another.
Yeah. It took a while to get it right, but the way I view healing is I don't think healing is a lifelong sentence. I think healing is just a phase. And I think the reason why it drags on a lot for other people is because they don't get to the root. They deal with all the branches and the fruit and they do it all their lives. But if you get to the actual root, everything changes and everything changes fast. And I've seen it over and over again. So my intention is always like, what is the root? Am I able to address it? And if I get it right, it's a lifelong change. And if you think about people, let's say they've tried to heal for 10 years, for example, and 9.5 years, they weren't getting to the root. And somehow they got lucky in the 10th year, they're like, oh, I found the root. And they did it and their entire life changed. Did it take them 9 years to change, or took them 9 years to get to the root? And because they did, that's when they changed. So to me, I'm always like, it's always the root. Because if I look at my life and I look back, I'm like, yeah, I've done a lot of these different things, but there's one thing that I did changed everything. It's probably because I got to the root.
Yeah.
So I always look for the root. And with any scenario, it's like, what's the actual root cause? What's the one thing that's causing all of this or stopping all of this? And can I get there? And a lot of times that is things we don't think about. It's the forgiveness or the worthiness or, the no boundaries or not loving ours. It's the things that for some people sound too boring or too easy, but they're hard
actually hard
practice.
to practice.
Very hard to practice or
Which is-
implement.
yeah. It's almost like, it's so funny how it gets dismissed. If I'm like, do you love yourself? And someone's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to be my question first. When someone's telling me about a bad relationship,
Yeah.
which I don't understand, because why do you need them to love you so much? Why do you need anyone to love you so much?
The void, right?
Right. Because I think it's something more like you need to love yourself. And then when you get all the way there, then you can decide if you need them to love you. And then maybe that relationship will be the right one for you, but maybe it won't. And so it's interesting where if you apply that in these other areas, this job, why do you need it so much? Well, I need to make a living. Yeah, of course. We all need to work. We all need to make a living. But what I found, even in my own, if I'm being vulnerable and sharing a little bit, anywhere where I found trouble, if let's say I have a problem in my relationship with my wife, we run into a wall where I'm just stuck on something.
Yeah.
The minute it gets solved is when I go inward and go, why do you have such a problem with this?
Yes.
Okay, let's go deeper on that. Why? And it's usually something like self-esteem, self-worth. You get back to that conversation and then you go back and you're like, yeah, it doesn't bother me as much. You know what I mean?
You nailed it. And with the relationships, I've seen it nowadays. It's easier for other people to be like, oh, it's their fault. They're not doing this stuff. But same thing. If I'm getting heated up, one, I have to walk away. I'm going for a walk.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a walk. I'll do something. All the external stimuli will go away. I'll be in my nature. I want to just be with myself. And I have to ask myself the same question. It's like, why am I so riled up about it? What am I triggered about it? And what's it really about? Because I'm pretty sure it's not this. This is bringing up something that's bringing me back somewhere. And I got to figure out what the root is of why I'm reacting this way. Because I'm not reacting like a level 10 to something that's a level 3. This doesn't make sense. There's something there, and it's an opportunity to grow, to explore. Because I'm like, if I can solve this and be free of this, then life will be better. My relationship will be better. And it's a hard thing to do, but in practice, because now you got to go, oh, okay, let me sit with it. It's not their fault. They're actually probably doing me a service of mirroring this to me, showing me what I have to heal. Thank you. But in the moment, it doesn't feel like that, right? But I have to build up and get there. And I'm like, and then I can learn from it, and then it doesn't happen again or happens less. But it gives me freedom. It shows me like, wow, I actually can either repeat this pattern for the rest, because they say, they studied couples, and would you believe that 98% of their arguments, they studied couples that I think till their 60s and 70s were around 2 or 3 of the same things over and over again. Same issue, same argument. And I'm like, do I really want to feel this way for the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of the same issue? Or what if this issue wasn't even mine? What if it was passed down? What if I role model it from my mom or dad? Can I heal it? So one, I'm not in pain. And second, my kids that are watching me, they don't have to deal with it because they saw me heal from it, so they don't have to anymore.
That's right.
To me, that's my motivation. It's like, can I spare them from unnecessary suffering? There's suffering in life. Yeah, you learn, you grow, makes you tougher, sure. But is there anything that's unnecessary that I can skip and that's really just, they don't have to go through it, right?
Yeah.
That's my drive.
It always starts with us. It's like when we find these problems that we want to blame another person for, the minute we stop blaming someone and we go inward and we go, what is that? Why do I need that? That to me is where the work starts, where you can actually heal something and change something.
And my belief also is, in life, I'm a teacher for someone, or they're a teacher for me.
Right.
Even if it's a painful lesson of what I want to be or what I don't want to ever experience, there's always a lesson to be learned. So even if it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, that jackass as a teacher, you get there, but eventually when you do, you look at things as lessons and learning lessons, and you're either learning the lesson or you're avoiding the lesson. And when you learn it, you're happier.
Yeah.
So I adopted that mindset a long time ago, and it's really served of like, okay, what's this teaching me? Or maybe I'm here to teach them something. Or if nothing's showing up, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna trust that this is happening for a reason. I'll step away from it, and in a week or 2 or 3 weeks, would it really have been a big deal? When you, in the grand scheme of things, 10 years, you look back, is it really worth it? Or in that moment, was I just so riled up that all I could see was tunnel vision and red, right? So I have to zoom out a bit and step away and know myself enough to know like, okay, this is obviously something I have to work on. But that practice is super important. Like just being like, you know what? Everything external, it starts internal. Let me figure that out. And if you just take that away, life will be so different.
And I think if we think spiritually, like anyone that's listening that believes in God, or we could just think scientifically and think that like nature is this like perfect organism and that it's all connected. But for me, if I go spiritual and I go, okay, if life is the ultimate teacher and trainer, then every situation we're in, we're put there actually like in a divine way to learn a new skill. To get stronger, this muscle is, we need to strengthen this muscle. And for each of us, life puts us in different situations. And it, like they say, will never give you more than you can handle. Sure. But it's like you're in the gym putting up more weight, putting up more weight, putting up more weight. Life is like that. Like this situation, if you step back and you go, no, okay, like you said, what's this teaching me? What am I supposed to overcome here? What am I supposed to learn here? Is something like a growth-oriented process. If you show up for it and you have that attitude towards it.
It's always hard in the moment. I mean, when I was going through some of the darkest times 15, 20 years ago, where people around me were either they're sick, mental illness, and they were going through dark times, and the people that I loved and I was like, gosh, this is so painful. What's the purpose of this? Looking back now, I'm like, it's so I can do my purpose and help people, and I can understand and I can be motivated, and that pain became my purpose. It became part of my story. But back then I couldn't see, that far. All I can see was pain. So at that point in time, it was pain. Looking back, I'm like, that makes sense. And I have to remind myself, like, even if I don't understand what I'm doing now, it's not meant to make sense because I'm being given one piece of the puzzle here. It might be a 1,000-piece puzzle, and in 5 years, I might see the whole thing. So if I'm looking for context, I don't have it now, and I won't because it's not done yet. And the surrender to that is tough because you realize it's still a work in progress, but you've got faith. You're following your intuition that it feels good. Therefore, it's only going to bring me someplace that's actually better, even if I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And which you've done that. I can feel that and we've talked about it, that's just how you live your life.
Yeah.
And it gets easy when you live that way, but it doesn't mean that it's like, sometimes it's like going to get uncomfortable, right?
You start to get, I don't want to say addicted, but I have gotten very comfortable with hard work. Yeah. So when something looks hard, when something like, oh, well, that's going to be hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, good.
Get challenged.
Yeah. Cause you start to get kind of, you get a little bold in your attitude towards what I would say. And I was just about to ask this so this is good. I try to imagine someone out there listening that needs to hear this the most.
Yeah.
Every time I do this show, I always, in the back of my mind, I have like a focus on one person. And for me, it's someone listening that needs to hear this the most. And sometimes if it's with a musician, it's a fan that's been listening to their music their whole career, and they need to hear this message the most.
Sure.
Or whatever it is. I've always had this audience of one out there, and I don't know them, but I can feel them out there, and they need to get this the most. So what I'm thinking of with you is, okay, there's someone out there and they're starting from zero. They have no prior opinion on personal growth, on their own energy, on their own success, and they don't know where to start, and they're looking for one idea and a place to start. And what would you say? I'll tell you mine, and then you can tell me yours. If there was one idea that they needed to start, I would say it's optimism. It's unrelenting, undeniable optimism that if I go forward and I try, I'm going to figure this out. What would you say someone needs to go forward and start to grow and start healing maybe? Because I do think healing is a part of that. Like you have to heal to be your best. But like, where does someone start?
Yeah. So I'm going to start with a concept and I'm going to give a practice. So it's like continuity.
Yeah.
So I have this belief that we weren't born broken. We're born whole.
Right.
The highest vibrational version of us. And we come to this planet and then life happens and we forget who we are. We lose touch. So it's this reminder that no matter how dark life gets, the light within you is actually the solution to the darkness around you. It's just, you just have to keep growing that and growing that. And then one day you're going to realize that things do get easy. Things do come to you, that you're bigger than everything, that your pain is just not for, pain. There's a purpose to it. Just realizing inherently that we have it and it's within is the big thing. It doesn't matter if you believe in energy, you don't do energy, you believe in manifestation, you don't. Just when you realize who you are and what you have within you, the energy that created life is also running within you.
Right. You don't have to gain it. You
don't have to
it.
gain it. You are it.
You're right.
A lot of it is just removing all the things that aren't you. That's the thing. It's removing the biggest things that are holding you back. It's my belief, so that you can connect back to you. And then life's easy. It's simpler than it sounds. And at the very beginning, it is protecting your energy. When you are swimming in the energy of negativity from all other people, you don't know who you are. You don't know what's yours, what's not yours. So when you're like, okay, when I go for a run, I feel better. When I'm journaling, I feel better. When I create music, I feel better. When I'm around this certain person, I feel better. When I am in nature, I feel better.
So feeling is big.
Big, yeah. Figure out the things that you do typically when you're stressed or when you're low that makes you feel better. And instead of doing those things when you need it, do it like you're drinking water. Do it because your soul needs it every single day. And what's going to happen is you're not going to hit those lows as low as you would have. Clarity comes and you feel good and you realize, hey, to me, that's energy work. People don't call it that, but we were born with things that clear our energy, even if we ever know it or not. That's how it's by design. We just have an affinity towards it and it makes us feel good. And when you start realizing, okay, I'm going to do things before I need it because they make me feel good and I'm going to do it in the morning or at nighttime, or you know what, if life gets hard, I'm not going to be like, I don't have time for it. No, I actually have to make time for it because it's what's going to fuel me. And you prioritize it. Just by doing that, people's lives, they can notice a difference, a big difference. And all you're doing is you're just being mindful of your own energy and protecting it in a way.
I agree with that. So you're known as the spiritual activator, which I think is really fucking cool.
Kudos to my wife. She was the one that was like, came up with it.
But it's cool because it's something that we don't think about until we realize like we all have a spiritual life.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to give that some airtime. When I think of the transcendent part of life, if we don't think that there's something else beyond this, then none of us live with purpose, I think. And I think that the transcendent part of life is one of the most important parts of life. It's what keeps us looking upward. Yeah. And we all have to look upward. You go in the direction you're looking. If we're looking down, we're going down. If we're looking up, we got to point where we want to go. We got to point and shoot. And I think the transcendent part of life is looking upward, pointing upward, reaching upward. And so to the spiritual activator, I've always liked it because it's to activate that side of life is a real thing. You've trained over 1 million people in energy work and spiritual awakening. Do you ever think about the butterfly effect of that? Like 1 million people is hard to, a million of anything is a lot.
Yeah.
But to think about what each one of those people then transmit out, because we're all training each other.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people that have studied and spent time with you have gone on to become their own, versions of.
I mean, that's actually my biggest pride is when they do stuff and they do stuff that I haven't done or bigger, better. I'm like, that's it. You're doing it. Because my goal is I mean, 1 million's a lot, but my goal is like, gosh, how can I wrap the world with this?
Right.
And I always thought like, okay, get several billion one by one. That's a lot. I mean, it's not impossible. Or even if it's never been done, I'm sure someone will do it. So why not me, right? But I also think in terms of like, you know what, one person, what they can do with the ripple effect. If you look at people in history and if they shine their light bright enough, they affect millions or billions of people long after they're gone. So I always think about the ripple effect. I know like I'll never be able to measure it, but just knowing like, wow, one life, they can change 100, 1,000, 1 million. So if you do 1 million, then hopefully like it makes a little bit of a dent in the world. But I always think about it, to be honest. I'm like, wonder how many you're reaching. Cool. Yeah.
It's your record. It's just like a band could affect 1 million people.
Yeah.
There's more vanity involved. So people look at it and they take a different thing away than I do. Yeah. But I think that like music is healing.
Yeah.
And when people put certain messages in songs and it helps people, motivates them, or it soothes their pain, or it commiserates with them over a loss, or whatever it is that music connects with certain people on, that they're actually affecting millions of people with a body of work that's it's an idea put to music, do this before bed, your book is an organized thought process
Yeah.
given to people so that they can start to form their own way of living.
Yeah. It's designed so that they can,
But it's a song.
it is very much like there's a rhythm to it. There's yeah, of course. Yeah. It is the way that you put it now. Yeah.
It's a record. It's a song. It's a piece of art,
Yeah.
right? And that's how we communicate with each other from the beginning of time. We communicate with art.
Yeah.
And really good artists make art people can digest. And then you're on stage. And so for you to say you started in bands is interesting to me because it's like, well, that makes total sense.
Right. I was looking back, I'm like, the way you change the world really is like, if you look at all the things that change culture, change thoughts, and change just paradigms, right? There are movies, documentaries, shows, song, music, and then books. Those are, to me, they change it for mass audience. So that's what I always wanted to do. It's like one form of one, because I just want to, for me, it's like, how can I get potent ones that are digestible by a lot? And what's the medium for that, right?
Yeah. I also think it's interesting that you chose nighttime ritual
Yeah.
because I also believe that probably the most powerful 8 hours of our day is when we're sleeping. And that's where we can heal. That's where we can recharge. That's where we manifest.
Yeah.
That's where all the action happens
At nighttime.
when we quiet our, what we control usually is what we choose to think about, what we choose to focus on, what we choose to feel versus our subconscious taking over, which is when we sleep. That's probably the best opportunity for it
Yeah.
to take over.
And if you get it right, the daytime is easier.
Right.
Because if you think about it, I'm big on morning routines. I have one. Like you wake up in the morning, you do your morning routines, and then after you do it, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hour, life happens. So right off of that, you're dealing with life. Whereas if you're going to sleep, you're doing that. And whatever you're setting the intention on, whether you want to, have better dreams or heal your body or release pain or learn things in your sleep or just rejuvenate, whatever that intention is, you do it right. You have 6 to 8 hours where that's the only intention. So it actually has runway. You're immersed in it. You're embodied in it. And I'm like, what else are you going to do in those 6 to 8 hours is going to be good for you? When are you going to get 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted stuff or slightly interrupted throughout the day?
And why not have intention?
Intention,
there?
yeah. So I just thought of efficiency.
Right.
Efficiency, traction, momentum, it just made sense to me,
Yeah. It's pretty powerful to think about. Like, I would say at least 50% of people, it's probably more,
Yeah.
don't have any process or thought process into how they're spending that 6 to 8 hours
Yeah.
that they're sleeping.
Think about it. You watch a horror movie, you get into an argument before bed, and how often do you dream about the argument or that emotion carries through in your dreams, and you're like, you wake up and even if you slept, you felt tired, you felt like you were fighting all night and your nervous system is fried, right? And that's just a little example. So what if you did that for the opposite? Like, what would you feel, right? So to me, I'm like, it's a multiplier. It's a very underrated one.
So first I want to say, Nicole, if you're listening, my wife, she watches horror movies sometimes before bed, and I can't stand it, dude.
Yeah,
I can't stand it.
I don't know why. Jocelyn's guilty of this. All the women in my life are. My wife is the same. I don't know if your wife is. They watch this like, what is it? True crime stuff.
True crime.
Yeah, it's like the makeup
American
and their heads
Horror
were getting
Story.
chopped off. I don't know. How are you listening to all this
Before
stuff
bed.
calmly before bed?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm here trying to be. It works for that. I don't know why.
It's crazy. But I found one of the things that I started doing, but I probably did it from a very young age, was dreaming about things like one day I'm going to do this, and which is manifesting.
Yeah.
But I found that nighttime was always when I was falling asleep. I was always imagining. And I think with music, your imagination's a lot more free. So you're allowed to kind of just imagine. What started as a kid imagining what I wanted when I grew up became, as an adult, working on things I love. I was always imagining the next steps. I was imagining what the future could look like.
Yeah.
And so as a practice, I don't fall asleep worried about the bills or the challenges. I'm more imagining the potential or possibility And that's kind of always been my practice, which feels
It's the best time to manifest too,
Yeah.
because you're in that in between. They call it the hypnagogic state. Have you heard about it? Like some of the artists in the past, they like what they do is like they would hold the coin and they would try to fall asleep. And the moment they drop the coin, because they're in that in between state, they would start drawing or doing stuff, and it would be the best work of art because they're in that space where they're just in flow. But people don't know it's like also the place where you can create and give messages to your subconscious and rewire and give it direction. So you'll probably be doing it, and and it's the best time to do it. And
Do you believe in microdosing?
I haven't tried it. I have a lot of friends who have.
You swear by it?
I swear by it. I microdose on energy though.
Hey.
Different. And here's the thing I tell people is like, if you saw what I saw and felt what I felt, right?
Yeah. You
I'm
would
like-
need the mushrooms.
I'm trying to ground a little
Yeah.
bit. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, do I really want to add fuel to the fire?
Yeah.
To me, when I'm seeing people that are doing it, and I'm like, you know what? I believe everyone's got their teacher. That's my thing. It's like everyone's got a teacher. And for me, it's always
vehicles, right?
been vehicles. And for me, it's always been sacred geometry and energy. And I'm like,
What's sacred geometry?
sacred geometry? So pyramids are sacred geometry, right? If you look at if you ever Google sacred geometry in nature, you're going to see it's part of creation, like Fibonacci spiral, the golden ratio. It's within us. It's within everywhere around us. So if you look at crop circles and pyramids, they've actually studied like healing effects of pyramids and what it does for protection. And that's where a little bit of my work goes into. But when you do enough of it, people will tell you, they go into my workshops and they're like, did they give us anything funny? Because why are they starting to see stuff, feel stuff? They go on, I have people that have done, for example, psychedelics, and they go to my workshop and they're laying in the ground and I'm doing nothing but energy work. They go on a full psychedelic trip. Then afterwards, for an hour or two, everyone's left. They're still on the floor and they're like, what was in that water? I'm like, nothing. Energy is energy, but if you know how to do it right, it gets you to the same places.
It's powerful.
It's the same thing. You're just using one method, whether it's sacred geometry or mushrooms or whatever it is, to unlock it, but it's the same place it takes you to.
It's a trip. When we did our session,
Yeah.
it was interesting because I know how to meditate. So I was essentially meditating while we did it, which I enjoy meditating. But when I meditate, I'm not somewhere else. I know I'm in the room.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of but I do kind of go places in my mind.
Yeah.
I've gotten to a place where when I meditate, I can go far away, but I'm never not conscious of where I'm actually at. And that's just my experience. And when we did our session, I was in a meditation, but I knew I was in the room. I knew you were there, but I saw an eye
I remember that.
open. And it wasn't scary or anything. It was just strange. I was I saw an eye open. And then when you were like, what did you experience? At first, my answer was not much. And then you were like, well, I saw this, this, and this. And you were like, your third eye. And I was like, I actually saw an eye open.
Yeah.
I didn't say it because it's kind of weird.
I know. A lot of people I heard it so many times. They see one big giant eye just go bloop,
Yeah.
and they're looking at it and they're like, what is that?
That's what I saw.
And they think they're crazy until everyone in the room, they're like, I saw an eye. It's the same. What kind of eye? Well, it was an eye color. If it's the same eye.
But it wasn't like a horror movie. It was just an eye. I
Yep.
saw it open and I was like, huh.
And third eye, a lot of times when people's third eye starts to not even be, because they're open, it's just when it starts to be unblocked a little bit, they start seeing.
But what you said too, when you were like, okay, the next 2 weeks, you're going to notice this. I think it's synchronicity when you're in line.
Yeah.
That experience you have when you thought of someone and they called you happens all the time.
Yeah.
Is what started to happen after we did our session. And not just that, there was other things, but
Yeah.
I just think it gets you humming. I think it the engine's going.
I figure the description, you asked me at the very beginning, how do I describe it? I think you just helped me to do it in this manner. It's like when I do the work, sometimes for people it's dramatic. We've seen it. And sometimes it's like over a week or two, you're like, something's different, but what is it?
It's subtle, but it's.
I think what it is the energetic part of you, the spiritual part of you that's been tuned down to a level 1 out of 10. It starts going to 4, 5, 6, 7. And your human life is still there, but you're realizing there's something else at play. There's another level. There's another side of you that you probably didn't know existed, and it's now becoming apparent. And now you're starting to have both worlds merge, and you're trying to make sense of it. But that's the part of you that's connected, that's aligned, that's never left, but now it's back online. And that's probably one of the best descriptions that I just came up with.
Yeah.
Thanks to you. But that's kind of what happens is they both integrate and you're aware of it. You can no longer deny it. And when that's up, synchronicities are more apparent. Things you're just,
which is why Spiritual Activator is such a great name, because what I also think is awareness of self is so big in life, to be aware of yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's aware of yourself in the room, aware of yourself in the conversation, aware of yourself. I do think that some people are starting at a level where they won't even allow themselves the credit to believe that they could be in touch with their higher self.
Yeah.
That takes self-love. I do. I really believe it.
Well, because that's where that's the vibration and where your higher self exists. It's the language of it.
Where your wisdom lives.
Exactly.
A lot of people that listen to this show deal with anxiety. It's like a through line. I get a lot of people that reach out and talk to me about depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And some of that gets mixed up, and it's like a mixed bag because there's a lot of trauma. People that have been through trauma. I know I had to heal from PTSD and trauma from my childhood. I did a lot of work on that, and I'm really grateful that I got past that, because it was causing so many other problems. When in my 20s, I found like that was a big one for me. Where does someone start when they're coming in with
anxiety? All right. So understanding the patterns will set you free. So if you're anxious after you go into a mall, then you realize every time I go to the mall, I'm getting anxious. Then you realize, okay, then what's going on that causes anxiety? Because it's very different. If you're talking to 5 people a day and the third person you talk to every single time after you get off the phone with them, you're anxious, then you're like, not a place, it's a person, right? But if you're like, I'm just anxious in general, it's not a lot of data to go off. You have to track, when does it show up? Is it nighttime? Is it in the morning, right? Is it a person? Was it a thought that I had and next thing you know, anxiety happened? Was it an email? Was it when I went on social media? First thing is like document when it shows up, because you're going to realize it's not there all the time. There's something that typically triggers it.
Right.
When you understand it, then you can address it. A lot of times people just say like, I'm just an anxious person. And I'm like, no, you've got moments where it shows up, but that's not who you are. When you figure out cause and effect and patterns, you can be free of it. Otherwise, it's just like, I have anxiety and this is my life. So I think understanding
it's like
patterns.
You have no power over it.
Exactly.
But you actually do.
So I always ask, okay, is this mine? When did it start? What did I do? What were the circumstances around? What are the patterns around it? Because it's not, I've seen it so many times with other people. It's always pattern based. Whether it's like, gosh, they gave me a look and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, am I not good enough? And that thought pattern caused anxiety. Or is it, okay, all right, I'm supposed to do this. Oh, change of schedule last minute. And you're like, oh, wow.
Or telling someone no.
It's not something, no. Boundaries. Oh, will I hurt them or reject me? Right? When you realize, oh, I'm having anxiety because you said no and you don't want them to not like you. And it's because it's fear of not being loved and liked and abandonment issues. That's the cause of your anxiety. That's where the work starts. But you got to trace it back.
Right.
To me, anxiety is like a fire alarm.
Wow, yeah.
You'd be like, okay, where's the fire? You don't want to be like, okay, how do I fix a fire alarm? You don't. You think it's for being there because it tells you that there's fire and you address the fires. But that to me is a feedback mechanism. So anxiety is a feedback mechanism.
Right. So it's like in a non-judgmental way, look at your anxiety. All right, I'm having a panic attack and it manifests itself as I'm afraid I'm dying. Right.
Yes.
And then you get past this one and you're like, oh, till then, this is the experience someone with anxiety has. Until the next time. When's that going to show up again? And it's almost like the boogeyman. It's just going to show up, and you do see patterns with it, but you kind of are living in this like guessing game where like, when am I going to have another panic attack? I started having panic attacks when I was 11 years old. I had them every night for a year.
Yeah.
They came out of nowhere. And then I became afraid of the panic attacks. And I started having panic attacks about panic attacks.
Anticipating it, right? Like, when's it going to come?
And it was a horrible, but it was all from childhood stuff. And I worked out the patterns in therapy. Yeah. So that's why therapy is a great...
Because it shows you the blind spots.
It's like going to school for your brain and your emotional...
And that's actually, it's good because it gives you a space to where you don't have to know what it is, but somebody who can help you can be like, I've seen this before. What about this? What about... And you're like, oh, I'm learning. Oh, and then you break those patterns, or you're wired the way you think. Next thing you know, you're like, okay, you wake up one day and you're like, it's not happening as much or at all.
Right.
Or if it does, you're like, eh, you're like quickly out of it. But I think you've got to understand the pattern, or even if you don't understand it, do something to change it.
Well, what's interesting is where you're coming from, which I'm realizing why you're powerful. You're coming from a place of, I can affect this.
Yes.
I have the power to change this. I have the power to do this. And so you're coming from a stance that says, oh, no, I have the power to do this on my own. I can actually.
Yeah.
And what you're teaching people is they have the power.
I have to get them to that.
Right.
Because I can tell them that. Everyone else around them can tell them that. But I almost have to build. Some people like, okay, they've done so much work to where I'm the last step that gets them there. And for some, I'm like, I got to milestone you. And then you wake up one day and you're just that. Before you can even know you're that, you're already there. And it's that's
practice.
It's the exciting part of like, when is it going to happen? Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be in a week? If you keep doing the right things, it will happen. Just a matter of when.
And then you see it clicks for them at whatever point.
What's funny is I've seen it with a lot of people to where it happens. And then when I call it out a few months later, then it clicks.
Right.
The click happens later. It's a little delayed. And they're like, oh gosh, I haven't had an anxiety in 3 months.
Right.
And they realize when I ask, I'm like, when's the last? And they're like, they realize on the moment, because when you're free of something, then you can finally relax. You're like, now you're relaxing. Now you're breathing. Now your nervous system is calm and you're not thinking about that. You're just free of it.
And how much more space in your life do you have for other things when that's gone?
Oh gosh, you're going to have to think about, that's the biggest thing is like, people are like, I don't have to fix myself anymore. What do I do? I'm like, the stuff that you love. Because we're so used to like, what can I fix? What can I heal? What's blocking me? And it gets to a point when you do it right, the only block you have is thinking you've got a block. You're good. Create, be bold, be courageous. What are you here for? Do the meaningful thing. And for a lot of people, that's also hard.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to the identity of like, I'm in pain. This is who I am.
It is your identity. It becomes your identity.
Yeah. And when you're changing that, friends treat you differently, family members, you don't know how to show up in the world in a new identity. And that's why for people, they're like, let me go back to pretending I'm broken because at least I've got a support system that can understand me versus being somebody who's not.
Right.
And I see that, and I'm like, okay, it's a real thing.
Are you going to write a follow-up for Do This Before Bed? Or are you going to do like a first thing in the morning type book?
First thing in the morning.
I don't know, man. When you wake up.
When you wake up. I've actually, what I haven't done, which I think if I do a next book, it's going to be it, is I want to go deep. Because my first book was an origin story book. This one's more of like a Do This Before Bed. It's the most viral Instagram and TikTok topic that we have, and we realize, oh, people really want this. I'm like, let's turn a book so we can reach more people. But I'm like,
this one's great. It's very easy to grasp, and so it actually can affect a lot of people because at any level you could grasp this at a high level, but you could also just get it, and it's a good basic starter to like formulating your process, to getting you on the path of like growth, of manifesting, of healing, of all the things. So I like this because I like mass.
Yeah.
I like a lot of people being able to grasp something and get something from it.
My biggest compliment from this book is a client that bought it. It's like, I gave it to my 80-year-old mom. She read it and she's like, well, I actually like this book. I'm like, great. She doesn't know who I am. She's never done energy. It's like somebody can pick it up and find value, even if it's just a page or two. So that's my Northern Star, is like, how can I bring this to people that normally aren't open, don't know, won't see this? Because I feel like that's the true work. Right. It's not for people that believe they're great. I mean, we have them. It's like, how can I bring it to people who don't, so they can have it? Because I didn't have it when I started out. So to me, it's like, okay, can I create something that I didn't have that I wish I had? And I think this is it.
Yeah, it's great. If there was one thing that everyone listening or watching could take away from this conversation, what would you hope it would be? That
you are the creator of your own reality.
I like that.
And it is something that somebody told me that earlier on. I'll be like, wait, what? Okay, so two things. You are the creator of your own reality, and everything you need, as cheesy as it sounds, is already within.
Right.
Like everyone's dream, we were born with the tools to not only thrive in life, but to experience all of that and beyond. It's just, are we willing to do the work to access those tools and to step into that version of us that can live that life? But it's there. It's not like some sick joke of like, this is your dream and you can't do it, right? It's like, this is your dream. Everything that's happened to you is a way to point you towards what you're here to do. or your dream. It's just like, are we going to take action?
Yeah.
Are we gonna follow our intuition? Are we going to step into our authenticity? And I truly believe everyone that I've ever met, they have the gift. They have that power. Like, I don't think anyone doesn't have it. It's just a matter of like, it's suppressed for some, got to do the work for some. But I feel like everyone has to do it. You did it. I did it. It's not hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I forgot who said it. Someone said, life is easy when you live it the hard way, and hard when you live it the easy way.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
And I was like, amen to that. Because the hard work becomes easy the more you grow. It's like, okay, everyone thinks it's hard. It's easy for me.
You submit to it. There's something about the joy of it that I found where I used to be afraid of things. And then I just submitted like, this is going to be hard. And then I started getting excited. You start to get momentum in that where you're like, oh no, I don't want to do easy things. I want to do hard things. I want things that are challenging.
You and I are the same, because when I'm doing things, I'm like, I wonder if we can do something that's never been done before.
Yeah.
If they say it's impossible with this condition, can it be possible? How fast can, like, it excites you, because when I look at things, I'm like, it's not that it's never been done before. There's always a first. Oh, there's always someone who breaks, like remember Roger Bannister, right? 4-minute mile. Before that, nobody could run a mile for 4 minutes in 4 minutes. After he did it, all of a sudden, people from all over the world started doing it. So it wasn't a matter of possibility, it was a matter of belief.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, if no one's done it, then can I be the first one to do it? So I actually get excited about it. And I'm like, you know what? I think I want this challenge.
One last question.
Sure.
Do you have any favorite bands?
Bands?
Yeah.
Ooh, Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam's a good one.
Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
Love it.
90s.
I'm
they're still great now.
I'm in the grunge era, like, you know, it's Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Nirvana.
I was just on like a 90s rabbit hole with my son. We were driving in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you like any rock bands? Because he mostly listens to hip hop. And he's like, I actually like a lot of rock bands. It was Deftones, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Soundgarden. But we went on a whole 90s trip and we were listening to all that. Pearl Jam.
It's all in my workout music list.
Yeah, those are the formative years for us.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like, those songs, you buy the singles, you buy the album, you got them in repeat, like, you know, and you just listen to it over and over again in high school, and it's just like I don't know.
That was it for me. Was at that age when I was thinking about the possibilities of life and what could I do, and we lived in a small town. We didn't have MTV, we didn't have cable, we didn't have. The only thing we had was the radio, and it was back then in the 90s. It was like rock radio was like a real thing, and it was alternative radio. And I was just always listening, finding bands, and then I'd go get the CD and go down the rabbit hole. That music made me dream, made me want to be in a band, made me want to like.
It actually did for me as well. I was like, gosh, if this music, to me, it was like, if this music can move me so well in my day-to-day life. And back then in high school, it was like, wow, this actually gave me hope. It got me through some of the toughest times.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is powerful. I want to do that for others. But I had to experience it. It did something for me. And I'm like, I understand the power of it.
You should do your energy work at some music festivals, dude.
Oh my gosh. You know,
that would be a thing.
I have a bunch of friends that are like, that are pretty, they do DJ work in festivals. And I'm gonna hit them up after this and be like, I'll do some energy work while you do.
There's definitely some festivals where you could have like a tent or something.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah, be sick.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on all your good work.
Thank you.
You're helping a lot of people. I'm your fan. I'll be watching, and I can't wait for our next session.
Our next book.
Yeah, the next book. Thank you for watching Artist Friendly. If you like this episode, please make sure you hit the like button, you follow the channel, and please share it with your friends. We appreciate the support. That is why this show exists, because you listen to it. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.